6 महीने में तो कोई गेम नहीं बनता अनलेस कि ऐसा कुछ हो.
Go to rummypassion.com, you register, you get 2000 rupees as a welcome bonus. How cool is that?
Yeah, very cool.
What's up, guys? This is episode 7, I think, of the Bongshot podcast. We are back here again, the 7th week. 7. We did 6, I think. I'm like 90% sure. So, and we've done it like without any breaks. So, like, I'm really happy. Yay!
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, joining us today is our best guest, like my favorite guest till now, Manas. Manas has like a YouTube channel called Video Game Wonderland. He has a Facebook page called Manas Plays. He makes like a lot of content videos mostly. He's not a streamer though he does stream sometimes. And if you haven't watched Manas's videos, definitely check them out. I think they're easily one of the best very different kind of gaming content in the country. So yeah, and they're also in Hindi. So yeah, great. And Udit is joining us, minus his beard. So, yeah, like...
Vote in comments, guys, if you actually prefer the beard or not, alright? People flooded my Instagram against it, but I think it looks better on me. I don't know, I dig it. Anyway, adding to Manas's point, the praise, I think Manas is one of the people with the best balance between content and comedy. Too often, other people lean into one direction or other a lot, right? So he gets the point across. Everything is on point with your content, is what I think.
My best part about Manas's content is that they're informative. I find a lot of gaming content in India. Gaming content, not hardware content in India is pretty informative. Gaming content, not so much. It's always someone playing games and that's about it. You don't really see past that in India. I haven't seen proper reviews, gaming reviews and stuff like that. You don't exactly do reviews, but you do some kind of like the closest I can think of is something like Jimquisition, but you aren't like a critic or either. You just talk about subjects that are going on, right?
Yeah. So basically, my thought with this was कि पहले मैं stream करता था and I would stream more often, but usme like I would get a lot of comments and the comments were not really relevant to the game. Like they would be like, like this happened to me, that happened to me, what's going on with you? Yeah, like relationship stuff and like I was like, dude, like I don't give a shit. Like I know I'm pretending to care. Like कोई देखेगा तो उसको बुरा लगे like because you know उस time पे I was streaming and I wanted views and comments, but मेरे mind में था, dude, like I want to talk about the game. Like this game, I'm enjoying this. Like are you enjoying the game or are you here just because I'm listening to your problems? So तो इसलिए मैं थोड़ा बोर हो गया उससे. Like
free therapy sessions by Mana.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, some of my friends would make that same joke, right? So then I watch a lot of other Bahar ka content. One of my favorites is this guy called Internet Historian.
I've seen some of his videos.
Okay, so his No Man's Sky video, his Fallout, the Fall of 76, the Engoodning of No Man's Sky, like they were good videos, good pacing.
These are very long videos, correct? If I'm correct.
Like,
very
like
long.
around 25 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour long videos.
Yeah. I remember there was a 1 hour ka video from Internet Historian. I don't remember. I think that's the video where I found him.
That could be Fallout 76.
Oh yes.
Like
They said like it was basically thrashing Fallout 76 for like an hour. Okay. Yeah. So yeah.
But the thing with him was he would tell a good story around it. It wouldn't be just hey, this is this about the game. And I really enjoy his videos. Uska content bhi bahut rare aata because those videos, those edits take months at times. And I also enjoy listening to a lot of music. And I was like, man, like I'm not getting to see enough of this content. I know some editing. Maybe I can put together something if I really put my mind to it. Script lick it. I'll give it a shot. So I started doing it with like few videos, and I think I'm finding like a better flow to it. I think the 4G video is the last one that I did is one of my favorites.
I really like how it ramped up with the music and ended with the music. That was probably my best part. Yeah, I probably fanboy the entire podcast on your videos.
So yeah, so that's how I was ended up making these videos. I wanted it to be informative, but I knew ki log matlab if it's like an information dump, so people may not really enjoy it. So hey, kabhi kabhi agar information is too much, I'll just pump up the music taki hey, if not for the info, the music is keeping you hooked.
Mhm.
And then बीच में थोड़े jokes वगैरह line up कर दिए, which I tried to make it more relevant to what people might be watching otherwise also. तो
Mhm.
उसके हिसाब से.
Yeah, your
So that's
videos
how,
have a lot of mainstream jokes.
like because I know कि like people like most people को अगर बताओगे कि this information exists, so they won't be interested. But mixed with a few jokes, I feel कि the information is also interesting. Just present करने का it needs to be presented in a way कि like a technical thing or a behind the scenes development thing can be presented in an interesting way कि लोग देखे.
One of the more interesting parts about your videos and your content and you as a gamer and well, influencer and everything is that I've seen a lot of influencers in the country. We've worked with a lot of with them and hung around a lot of them. They tend to be very how should I say this, neutral in a lot of issues. You don't care much about that. You take shots, like you take shots at the government, you take shots at brands and everything, right? And you take it very cleverly. You don't really just call them shit. Of course, like you tell what you exactly say what is happening, you dissect the information and you try to be critical of the information, which is something again, like information is something that about games is not played out often in content in India. So yeah, big fans.
Matlab, see, when I criticize even like politically also, like I have friends from who support either side of the political spectrum. So I don't want to piss anybody off, but I also want to state the obvious. Like the end of it, मेरा ये था like, dude, अगर मैं अपने channel पे बोल नहीं सकता आराम से, तो why am I even doing this? ऐसा there is no money coming from it, so there is like no incentive for me to uh, not just speak my mind and at least be satisfied with the thing that I'm making.
I
Also,
think
I try not. Yeah, go on.
continue. Sorry.
Uh, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, I was going to say ki, like that even when I'm saying something, I don't want to piss anybody off. Mostly because like, hey, you can believe whatever you want as, and I'm not even right. Yeah, at the end of the day ऐसा भी नहीं है ना कि like I'll do something for you, मतलब you make your own choices. नहीं, मैंने तो वीडियो बनाया. And also I don't try to be too like just गाली दे के या call them something stupid या कुछ. I try कि कुछ interesting way में put करूँ ताकि hey, if you have to respond, you could make a good argument to make me see your point. बट अगर तुम गाली देखो तो आई वुड नेवर बी एबल टू सी दैट पॉइंट. तो इसीलिए आई ऑल्सो डोंट डू दैट ताकि दे आर एबल टू सी माई पॉइंट एंड होपफुली दे रिस्पॉन्ड इन अ वे दैट पुट्स अक्रॉस देयर पॉइंट जो मुझे इंटरेस्टिंग लगे. लाइक काफी बारी आई वुड सी लाइक रियली इडियोटिक कमेंट्स, but I don't want to keep talking. I'll come to some idiotic comments. Remind me later. But I want to hear what Udit was going to say.
Right. So Manas, what I was getting from you is like basically it is complete honesty through the channel, right? And so often when people try to be neutral, I understand where people need to be neutral in order to, not shake the boat too much because that's the easiest way to sometimes lose your viewers, right?
Yeah.
But if you are honest with your views, eventually, obviously, it will bring grounds for disagreement, and some people might lose. But then you will attract the people that you mostly want to attract through that, right?
Yeah.
And any conversation you want, you have opened yourself as a person, saying that I'm open to having a conversation like this, but these are my views on it, right? So often, the more we hide from it, the more it kind of uh, brings about a bit of dissatisfaction, right? When you're trying to play a certain character, than when you're trying to be yourself on your channel. That is the most freeing feeling ever. And I see that from your channel, and I see you're always happy, like, and that comes
Yeah.
Yeah, matlab, I really enjoy like these videos take a lot of time. Like I mean honestly, where sometimes like I have to sit for like 14-15 hours because especially when these ideas start coming in, so I can't matlab na 2 घंटे में करके then I'll do something else and come back to it. I have to like allocate like 6, 7, 8 hours at a stretch अगर ये करना है तो sometimes I'm sitting up till like 6 in the morning. I remember Fauji wala video, like when I was done with it at 6 in the morning, I hadn't like previous day also had slept like at 6 in the morning, gotten up at 10 क्योंकि office का भी काम है. to get to that also. But I just couldn't sleep because I was excited. Shit, now I can get this video out. Like, this is ready, this is done. So that's a, yeah, I time lagta hai, but I can be myself. So that makes me happy. Like, I'm able to put out this content, and it's not a massive viewership, but I feel ki at least I found a viewership who slowly, at least now, like more and more people are coming in who are now talking about the points that I'm making, even if they're disagreeing, वो भी चलेगा, but at least that is a conversation instead of somebody asking कि अरे भैया बहुत सही वीडियो था, आप क्या बोलते हैं, आप अगले बारी लाइव कब आओगे, कुछ बात करनी थी. मैं कहा अरे यार, like at least those comments थोड़े कम हो गए, and like more interesting comments. So that also keeps me thoda sa motivated, okay, there is a community out there. And hey, community वैसे ना, like you would hear see people complaining about the overwhelming amount of PUBG Mobile, but at the same time somebody like Beast Boy Shub was killing it. Like uske channel pe you would see variety of different games, all done in Hindi. So somebody actually said this to me, like मुझे याद है when I had started out like 3-4 years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago now, Gaming Central पे, तो उस time पे there was a mindset कि like a lot of content has to be in English for some reason, like, and I also kind of justified it mind में सोच के कि okay, games are in English, तो people जो वो game खेल रहा है, of course he must understand English, तो वो हमारा point भी English में समझ जाएगा, like when we used to make a lot of content in English, but then later on I realized ki so I would meet a lot of people who then I started meeting these other YouTubers who would be making these Hindi walkthroughs. So I asked them like, hey, what's the audience response like? So they would tell me कि a lot more people play games like other than like outside our circle, जो हमें लगता है like it's our circle who's like, the most people who play a lot of games and all. They told me a lot of their audience plays games like Uncharted and really really loves the gameplay, the flow of it. They have no clue की story में क्या चल रहा है. And then I started thinking about it. Yeah, I'm sure there have been games जो मैंने भी खेले हो, like something like Division. It's like I think like Division का story बकवास था. But something like Division, like by the end I had no clue कि game में क्या चल रहा है, but I was having fun playing the game. वहाँ पे लैंग्वेज बैरियर है, तो आई अंडरस्टूड कि ना ओके, दैट गाय हु इज प्लेइंग अनचार्टेड लाइक दैट, इवन दो अनचार्टेड में स्टोरी इज गुड, he still had a blast, but he doesn't understand. So then those guys watch Hindi content to get an idea कि क्या चल रहा है. They love the game story. Like you've seen like millions of views on videos कि ना Uncharted story in Hindi, Spider-Man story in Hindi. So that's when I realized कि यार shit, like like it makes sense to connect with people in the language that they are most comfortable with, है ना. Like English भी I can do English आराम से, लेकिन even I realized, and मेरा भी था कि it is lack of my exposure also to maybe good enough Indian made content, Hindi content ना. When I saw comedians हिंदी में जो फाड़ रहे हैं, then I started feeling थोड़ा shit dude, like my jokes are nothing, like मैं English में joke मार रहा था, this is hilarious stuff, like वो language barrier break करके relevant जो relevant topics है India में, उसके बारे में बात करके. That's why even when Carrie Minati also started out, like his channel started booming, like holy shit dude, like this guy is making content, relevant content for people who speaking their language. Like some of his references I felt so out of touch and out of date जब मैंने कुछ उसके videos देखे. Then I really wanted to shit, like yeah, there is good content to be made for people, बस you have to meet them halfway at least. अगर थोड़ा हायर क्वालिटी प्रोडक्शन वगैरह उनको डाइजेस्ट करवाना है. एंड फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल आई थिंक समथिंग लाइक यूट्यूब, even Beast Boy Shubka channel, that is Netflix for them. Like in like rural areas where they don't have like the best internet, yeah, they may not have a good understanding of English. That doesn't mean कि they're not ready to be entertained, या ना उनको entertainment चाहिए नहीं. A lot like Beast Boy का channel, tuning into those channels is like tuning into Netflix. Like 20 minute का एक show देख लिया, daily one episode comes out. That is exactly that for them. Like they also want उतना ही consistent regular content. They are okay with long form also, but वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए एक अलग एफर्ट लगता है.
Right.
हम पॉडकास्ट हिंदी में कर रहे हैं यार इंग्लिश में?
For me that doesn't matter. Like it's fine. Like I know 4 languages, so I can communicate. I am most comfortable in English. My Bengali is weaker. My Hindi.
See, Bengali is weaker for all of us here. So.
Oh no. I तो just was saying कि ना, like this is what led me. Me?
Huh? You know Bengali, Manas?
No,
Oh,
I'm
okay. No, yeah,
I'm from
yeah, yeah.
Kerala,
No, no,
Mandu.
yeah, yeah, that's what Udit was saying. Yeah, everyone's weak in Bengali here. I was like saying like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fine. Like I think, yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable in. Make content in there. At the end of the day, your content also has to be entertaining for you, which is something I feel
Yeah.
is very
Yeah.
important. I think if
Yeah.
content is not entertaining for you, you cannot entertain someone else, right? I have
Yeah.
seen so many streamers, budding new streamers trying to get into the scene. They stream but they're like angry on their face, and like, you know, they have that negative vibe, and like you stay on their channel for like 2 minutes and they're like, okay, maybe not, right? And these are not people who are trying hard. That's, it's not like one part of the game, right? That's the consistent over time. So I think like basic things like language barriers, stuff like that, it's very interesting though. I think you're the only, yeah, you're pretty much the only content creator I see for gaming who makes Hindi stuff in India. What you make, I haven't actually seen others make, to be very honest. So I can't really compare. I have seen other people make content similar to yours back in the day of Total Biscuit, whom I used to follow a lot, and then people like Jimquisition and even Yahtzee. Yeah, your comment somehow reminds me a lot of escapist vibes, like Yahtzee stuff.
Maybe the speed of it,
Speed
like
of it,
the
speed of it, the music, the prop, everything, like everything. It's like a whole.
Like it or not, Escapist has bled into a lot of content creators. Whether you like, whether it was intentional or unintentional, I suppose.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to see. I am actually more hyped about video content for gaming than about streaming for gaming, because I think over time the video content is going to win out. I don't know about initial short form, because videos are more likely to go viral, and more importantly, videos have this thing called a larger shelf life, right? Today,
Yeah.
you make a video on something like 4G, it will still be relevant, say 5 years down the line when you try to research on the topic again, right? If you are streaming 4G for today, it's not as relevant if you see it 5 years down the line, because you'll have to find bits here, there, what are the interesting parts. It's not exactly highlighted, right? Stuff like that. So I think like video content over time, and again, I guess I'm a little biased. I am more of a consumer of video content than streams, right?
I think the advantage video content has over streaming again is like if you're streaming and you get an audience for a particular game, you are beholden to that game, but you don't know what will happen to that game 2-3 years down the line, right? Like imagine that the game that you're streaming and you're getting the mass viewers just suddenly shuts down, all right, or has been overtaken by another,
Like PUBG.
right? Yeah, right. So that causes a huge disruption
Yeah.
into your entire plan of things.
Yeah,
Whereas-
it's 2 weeks since PUBG ban, correct?
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
we've seen quite a bit of effect of it. Like Indian PUBG teams are not qualified, getting into the main PUBG tournament. Streamers
Yeah,
are getting lesser views. Lots of things happening because of the ban.
Right.
Yeah, I saw like a tournament, PMPL, PUBG Mobile Pro League South Asia.
Yeah, that's what I'm
They
talking about.
have disallowed all the Indian teams from like participating, and like the teams are really requesting, like even putting in statements to the government, ki, can we play as not India, like because this is our livelihood. Like yeah, so that kind of sucks. Like there is no clarity, and I think the PUBG also saying ki you cannot, PUBG Mobile saying ki you cannot participate, kind of indicates ki maybe the game is not coming back. Like
Yeah. Every indication is that the game is probably not coming back, even though there were some rumors about Geo taking in publishing rights of PUBG,
Yeah.
but we don't exactly know how that will work, because Geo isn't a, well, Geo makes small games for a very small mobile, like not even your Android phones. They make like very they can make games for rural kind of like a category, where they make these $50. They have like a $50 phone, I think, 2,000 3,000 rupee phone, and they make like you know how we used to play Bounce back in the day in our mom's phone. Yeah, they make games like this today, distributing that to that category of people, and they kind of focus. So I don't know if how they will take on publishing for PUBG, but it's interesting how that's happening. Yeah, we diverted quite a bit today's podcast. It's been very interesting. I'm already a big fan of having Manas here. I'll definitely have you here again. But let's get into the actual topics today. First topic is my favorite topic. Bethesda bought Sony. No.
Very nice, Aman. Bethesda bought Sony.
No, Bethesda, sorry, Xbox bought Bethesda. But
Very nice again, Aman.
it's technically Xbox bought Bethesda. See, I wanted to say Microsoft bought Sony, but I said Bethesda bought Sony, so that's my bad.
Look at this.
But
Look at this. Feeling right away off the bat.
but yeah, if Microsoft wants, they can probably buy Sony also. So yeah. To give to perspective, before we start this discussion, Sony is like an $80 billion company. Microsoft is a $1.5 trillion company. 1 trillion is a
add to that perspective, Disney is like $250 billion company.
yeah. If Microsoft wanted, they could buy Disney also. So you would have entire MCU under Microsoft all of a sudden. So I want to go very deep into this topic. I think it's very interesting. Just 1 week ago, Microsoft was at 15 studios, 2 more studios than Sony. Sony has a total of 13 first-party studios. Microsoft has a total of 15 first-party studios, and because Microsoft bought Bethesda, they got 7 more. So they are eight.
There are 23 now. Yeah, 8.
Okay, 8 more. So they are at 23 now. They got titles like Doom, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Starfield, which we don't know about, but just like saw a small teaser. And mobile games also very interesting. I want to say, like, Microsoft now has a dedicated mobile gaming division, which they did not have before. So yeah, very interesting. I think, and rumors has it they might buy Sega. And Microsoft themselves have said that they aren't stopping here, right? Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think Microsoft is beating
Ford v Ferrari
Sony?
all over again? It's like every generation has this, every field has this kind of battle between a juggernaut and and something smaller. People were constantly saying like, hey man, Microsoft are underdogs, they're really kicking the competition. Microsoft was never an underdog.
That's the thing.
Make that clear. Microsoft is a $1 trillion company. How many $1 trillion companies do you know? That's only Apple is the only competition for them, right? They just told Bill Gates that we have a problem. Bill Gates is like, hey man, buy Bethesda. What do you think? What are you guys doing? Right? I'm like, shit, yeah, I guess we can just buy Bethesda. What's interesting is they have 2,300 employees now, and Bethesda has all of a sudden become a third of their entire staff. Right?
Yeah.
This is an insane power move. Right?
Yeah.
To add the thing, they've not gone completely with the process. They're in the process, right? They announced it, I think, just before the pre-orders go live, which is, I think, a powerful move, right? Like a baller move. What we have to go on is how much of a threat is this to Disney? I mean, just like how Ferrari survived to Sony. Sony is definitely, it's going to hit them a little. But this sweetens Game Pass a lot, right? What I want to focus on is, obviously some of these will be exclusive. They will make certain exclusives, because that was, despite all the announcements Microsoft had made, this was the biggest criticism that they continuously faced, that their first party lineup was rather weak in comparison. This will strengthen that. I think we'll see games like Dishonored, etc. be exclusives. I don't see Elder Scrolls being a complete console exclusive. Maybe it'll be a timed exclusive, but simply because they make ZeniMax would make a lot more money with it being multi-platform. But I certainly see those things being timed exclusive.
Says the PS fanboy.
Exclusive for many reasons, because they bought Minecraft, right? Minecraft is everywhere. It's on PlayStation as
See,
well.
see. Here's the thing with that logic. Minecraft is a single game. It's not a franchise. It's a single game that's already everywhere. And it's also when they bought it, the view of buying it was very educational. Mind I say it right. It was not just a game.
I will tie it back to what's happening here, because again, that goes against what Microsoft has been building up. They're not building up the Xbox; they're building up the Game Pass, right? These are all catalogs that they come towards Game Pass, and Microsoft has always been a smart business thing, right?
Not always.
Their concept is to push to Game Pass, and since they earn more from the IP, right? If Sony wants Elder Scrolls on their platform, they have to pay Microsoft a cut, right? So whether Elder Scrolls will definitely sell much more if it's on multiple platforms. The thing is, Microsoft is winning even by having the game on Sony's platform, right? So whether Sony sells more, that's better for Microsoft. And so bigger games like Elder Scrolls, bigger games like Fallout, I see them going as timed exclusive, the same way that Final Fantasy is timed exclusive for Sony. Microsoft is like, okay, you're going with JRPG market, we're going with Western RPGs. Western RPGs, you come here, right? First.
Yeah.
And then that massively strengthens. But I see games like Dishonored, etc., being completely exclusive to Microsoft. I see they're honoring the
Ghostwire and that thing. What is the other?
Deathloop?
Deathloop, yeah. PlayStation time exclusive.
Which I think is a very good business move. They want to show themselves as consumer friendly stuff. I think this will probably shake up Sony a bit. I don't think it'll have any long-term effect in what Sony was doing.
Yeah, what do you think, Manas? I'll speak afterwards. I'm an Xbox sort of fan these days. Just FYI. Yeah.
Actually, when Microsoft had announced their prices, so I thought, okay, this is like a winning move for Microsoft. Like the pricing is pretty good, especially on the Series S. India maybe 35,000. Then
India
PlayStation
pricing is
announced
not that good. India pricing is a bit
It's a bit-
okay.
but at least an option to get into next gen. 35 mein, it's not a terrible deal.
Yeah.
Like assuming
See
assuming-
the deal will I think be compared with what the PS digital version in India costs, like I think, right?
Yeah,
Because if that costs anywhere around 40 or even I think 45k, right? It's a Series S becomes a far less interesting option to go for.
Yeah, actually that's what happened, right? So then PlayStation announced their pricing, and the digital version is priced pretty well. Like, I mean, there is no way that is what Sony had planned to price it at. $400 is saying ki our Blu-ray drive costs $100. That's what you're paying for if you get the disc version. So I mean, the only reason for that pricing is the competition from Microsoft. And when that came out, I was like, oh man, shit! Like with this pricing, of course, Microsoft is again on the back foot, because for $400 you're getting the same power as like a disc-based PS5. The only difference is the disc. For 35,000 you're getting a less powerful machine. So that is a significant factor. So but uske baad when Microsoft then went and announced, I mean, Microsoft must be getting pissed off, right? Like whatever we do, Sony is kind of like again putting us on our back foot. Fuck it, let's buy Bethesda.
We're rich. Why the fuck do we have to put up with this bullshit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they must be pissed off. नहीं, like हम जो भी कर रहे हैं साला Game Pass किया, तो इन्होंने अपना PS collection कर दिया.
See, the best part is I see like if someone like ever creates a comics, it's like Richie Rich sitting on like his mansion, like his Microsoft, and then Peter Parker on the other side, and the audience is chanting, "Hey, let Richie Rich win. He's an underdog."
For once, somebody support me. So you have J. Jonah Jameson out there, like, in a brave baller move, Richie Rich has shown people that the real American way works, right? For the people. Peter Parker is like, fuck this, I'm out.
So I want to say a bit on this topic. I was pretty hyped. It came out of nowhere. I think I was playing Valorant, and then a friend of mine said Microsoft bought Bethesda. I was like, what? Not possible. What? Like, what are you saying? I was like, yeah, they bought Bethesda. That's what the news is. I went immediately checked. $7.5 billion acquisition, and you're right. This acquisition is ending next year, mid next year. right? Sometime it's obviously like you can't just integrate something like that as a company into the neck overnight, right? There's a lot of structural organizational change, a lot of emails being directed to Microsoft, like, okay, now you're using Microsoft email. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Man, Bethesda. I'm gonna miss the Bethesda conference. Will they still have Bethesda conferences?
Mini Bethesda conference, and I actually they can just, you know what I'd like is Bethesda telling Microsoft how to do a conference better. I think that would be better.
Yeah, so you need the guy on your payroll to constantly cheer for you. I remember when there was a Microsoft showroom. This was a joke, by the way. I remember when Sony said that they wouldn't come at E3. I had joked on Discord where, Bawal, Tanmoy, everybody were there. And like, Microsoft is going to come forward. Phil Spencer is going to say, hey, we just bought Sony. And they're like, the next 1 hour press conference is Sony. Could do that with Bethesda.
Yeah.
Wait, that actually would have been hilarious if they had done it at E3. Like have their show, Microsoft ka, and then at the end announce we bought Bethesda and next is Bethesda show. All their games are ours only. Enjoy.
They're like, and Todd Howard just sitting there like, yes, another version of Skyrim sold.
On Game Pass now.
He'll be like, I just sold Skyrim to Microsoft.
Yeah. I just want to say that I think this is so apt for Microsoft, because Microsoft originally is a software company more than anything else, right? Something that people tend to forget because Microsoft is doing so many things at the same time. But Microsoft started out with Windows, started out with software, and their best thing right now is they're focusing a lot of things on games all of a sudden.
There's a power cut.
Oh, nice. Dark Udit. It's like, okay, like anime redemption arc needed.
This is basically Sony right now. Microsoft bought the power company that supplies Sony their power.
Okay. So because Microsoft bought so many games, and I've been following, I was very interested over the last week. All I did was dig up on Microsoft, like what they're doing, what is happening. Before this podcast started, I had a little chat with Manas as well, saying I was searching for Xbox community, right? Of course, now that you have so many games, so many things going on, you must have some kind of a forum, some kind of a community, something going on. They do have a forum, they do have a ambassadors program of sorts for Xbox. But what I've largely seen is that what used to be like a separate division of Xbox has merged with Microsoft sometime in the last 4 or 5 years, right? People who had things like in LinkedIn, for example, people who had things like working at Xbox have been changed to working at Microsoft, right? To give you a good example, Phil Spencer, if you go to his LinkedIn page, right, you will see he's gaming at Microsoft, no longer gaming at my gaming head at my Xbox or anything like that, which is very interesting, which kind of shows a few things with this acquisition and what's happening over there. There's a definite structural change for Microsoft going on inside, where they're dedicating a core part of their workforce into games and software and this Xbox platform. And where Xbox used to have this independency, which I think the last generation they kind of fucked it over, right? How they started out with 2013 reveal of Xbox One compared to PS4 and everything going forward there. So now we see Xbox basically consuming Microsoft and being like, because Satya Nadella said, he initially said some years back, I remember, that he wanted to get out of the gaming business. And because of Phil Spencer's, like, I don't know who else to credit for this, obviously, but I think Phil Spencer is definitely one of the most important people to why Xbox is becoming so consumer friendly over time. Ever since he took over the ship, it's been turning, it's turning slowly because this is a big ship, but it's been turning for the better, like in the right directions, and they have been doing a lot of correct things with the Xbox Pass, with the fact that they're bringing games to PC, not just PC but also Steam. They have that idea that, you know, we are selling you software, it doesn't matter where we sell it to you on, which is good, right?
Not even on PlayStation.
Yeah, might be on PlayStation. I don't think I'll get back to that.
Might be
But
on Switch, but not on PlayStation.
I will get back to, I'll get to the exclusivity part of it. So now, because they have bought Bethesda, and we know for a fact that they bought seven studios back in 2018. They bought 6 studios and started a 7th studio, which is a brand new studio called The Initiative. So we know for a fact that there's games being made that we have no idea about. Microsoft is playing full for the late game, end game here. They're not looking at, they're skipping the initial launch period. They're doing whatever they can at the best of their abilities, but they're not rushing games out, is one thing I want to say, right? We haven't seen, that's a very big thing, because they have announced Age of Empires 4 when? 2018? Right? They hinted at it and showed simple gameplay, and we haven't seen much since then. They have just shown like a small teaser and nothing. I doubt it will come out this year or anytime soon, probably late next year, because we have Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition coming out, right? And probably after that we might see Age of Mythology Definitive Edition, which might count next year, and then Age of Empires 4, something like that, I don't know. So Microsoft is holding all of their cards close to themselves. And regarding exclusivity, what I think will happen is, if Xbox is selling less than PS, right? If we see Xbox and Xbox Game Pass having less people on board than PS, then we will see Microsoft doing the exclusivity thing a bit more. Because they have said that they will do it on a case-to-case basis. They haven't said no, they haven't said yes. And they're looking at the situation, how it goes. Yeah, they're looking at where the situation goes. They're looking at, you know, who is winning this generation. If it's us, then we don't mind actually sharing the games on PlayStation. Sony cannot afford that. For Sony, PlayStation is one of the main...
It's the biggest, most money-making thing right now.
Right. And gaming software, whether people believe it or not, is definitely it's already like $100 billion industry. I think it's already reaching $120 billion, $130 billion industry across the world. And by 2025 or 24, I think we are supposed to reach 200 billion. So it is definitely one of the biggest entertainment mediums for becoming the biggest. It's already the biggest entertainment medium. I'm saying it's also going to be one of the biggest industries in the world overall, right? Because already, if you combine Hollywood, Bollywood, and music industry, the gaming industry is bigger than all three of them, right? So this is a very well-known fact, like gamers try to say to everyone to impress, right? But yeah, it's I think Microsoft, I'm very hyped for Microsoft, but it is a very slow-moving ship. And that's something I want to notice when I saw the Xbox Ambassadors program. There is an Xbox Ambassadors program where you can get into a quote-unquote Microsoft community. And I tried to get into it. It's like reading 3 pages of terms of agreements. But if once you're bored of reading it and then you somehow get into it, you realize it's a very small community. The actual official Xbox Ambassadors YouTube has like only 8,700 subscribers. I checked yesterday. So that's the thing. That YouTube was formed all the way back in 2018. Not to mention they have... Their Discord has something like only very few people. I just entered. I have to check. But yeah, there's a lot of things Microsoft is still missing. But I see them heading in the right direction, with especially the Xbox Pass, which I've said over and over again. And I'm really excited to see where this entire thing goes with their games.
I want to talk more about Bethesda than what this means for Bethesda.
It means that they cannot release bugged games.
No, yeah, that's the thing, and they'll finally, Microsoft probably finally gonna force them to stop using that garbage engine.
They're overhauling. They already said they're overhauling it for Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. More importantly, Bethesda, Microsoft will probably force Bethesda to fix Fallout 76, because Fallout 76 is a Microsoft game now.
Yeah, so they'll be like, no, you're not using that garbage engine. We'll get you a better engine. Hey, is Decima free? Let's buy that. So those are good news for Bethesda as well, with all the things that finally will get them back in the good graces. Because apart from the shooters, a lot they've been quite on the down with their RPGs, right? And will you have a new Vegas too? Those are things that have been floating. So those are a lot of interesting discussions that are happening there. Uh, so yeah, a lot of exciting things.
The best part I want to mention is, I don't know how many people know this, but Obsidian, when they made Fallout New Vegas, right? They missed their bonus payment by
Right.
1 Metacritic point. They scored 84, and Bethesda didn't give them the bonus payment because the Metacritic on the contract said they had to at least get an 85. So, but imagine like Bethesda employees and Obsidian employees in the Microsoft office.
Microsoft is like, every game you want to make needs 90 Metacritic score, or at least has to be better than the first party Sony exclusive.
I don't think Microsoft is doing that at the moment.
which is something I'm a little disappointed, because they're very hands off with their companies in terms of how they want to produce the game, which is the complete opposite to how Sony does it. Sony is very hands on with the studio development. They're like always having constant conversations with all studios continuously. The producers are proper, very well integrated into the games, right? They've built their entire 20 years of companies with trust in industries, in autos, in stuff. That's something money can't buy, right? Their investment with all these developers, right? So I wish Microsoft was a little more hands-on, especially with case of Bethesda, which needs a little more hands-on grooming. But I guess
Yeah. Are you hyped, Manas? Are you hyped for the new Bethesda games? Microsoft Bethesda
Yeah,
games?
I'm excited. Anyways, hopefully their games improve, because I like the games, but I totally see how buggy they are. Like, I even enjoyed some of Fallout 76 because the core of it is not bad. Like, I've said this before, but Anthem needs a 2.0. Fallout 76 does not need a 2.0. It just needs fixing and polishing. Like, Anthem ka core is boring,
Yeah,
but Fallout ka core is
Anthem itself was broken at a like very core level. Like, I remember, because there was this issue where you could steamroll through the game with level 1 weapons if you just level up, because
yeah.
it makes a lot of sense for Microsoft to buy BioWare. Yeah, how we're just easy.
And corner the JR Western RPG market.
yeah.
Where
But
nobody's
but to be honest, BioWare does not have the veteran writers and the developers who made original Dragon Age Origins, or even the Mass Effect series, original trilogy Mass Effect series. So yeah, but yeah, and I want to mention how Bethesda also, Microsoft also owns an MMORPG now, which is Elder Scrolls Online, which has a subscription system. I should point out.
With Game Pass.
Yes, I want to see. So the Bethesda Elder Scrolls Online, you have to buy the base game, then you have to buy the expansion. It's like World of Warcraft, right? The base game costs the lowest. I think the base game is free actually. You only have to buy the latest expansion, right? And then you have to pay, if you want, you can pay a monthly premium subscription to get some advantages into the game, or you can play it for free, which is still nice. But there are definitely some limitation in like inventory spaces and stuff like that, which can get annoying if you're like a proper MMO grindy player, right? So I want to see how all of this integrates itself into the Game Pass, because like, what happens exactly? Do I get the premium subscription with the Xbox Ultimate? Would that be very cool? And what are they what is Microsoft gonna do in the mobile gaming spaces? I'm concerned, because they're going in full in with the Xbox Game Pass for like xCloud for Android, rather, in US and other places, in a few other places. I think Japan as well, right? So yeah, Japan, they're going live 2021 is what I read, and they're going full on with the xCloud thing. So I'm very excited for Xbox games, more so than I am for, say, PlayStation.
The possibility is that id Software could be making Halo as well, right? So those things make exciting how
I mean, in the future, definitely not this
in
one.
the
Yeah.
future, definitely. Like
Yeah.
how the IPs might cross over with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Yeah. I want to see Brian Fargo, the guy behind Wasteland 3, finally build like a proper RPG, because Wasteland 3 was an amazing game, but you could see the limitations in funding and production value and all that happening. But again, it's like it's an over the top tactical kind of RPG game, very reminiscent of original Fallout games. But
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I've been, over the last week, the only thing I'm thinking over and over again, holy shit, Microsoft bought Bethesda. Right. And I want to point out one more thing, which is I thought Bethesda would be a bit more expensive. It's $7.5 billion. It's Minecraft was bought for $2.5 billion back in the day.
How insane $7.5 billion is, man.
See, I am not a billionaire, right? I wouldn't know. Anyway.
You're not a billionaire, but you say I thought it would be more than 7.5
Yeah, I'm
billion.
like, come on. You're buying Skyrim. You're buying Doom. I thought they would be a bit more expensive.
But in comparison, I think the Disney bought Star Wars for around 4 or 5 billion. So
Yeah.
They made
Yeah,
their money
so-
back with 3 movies, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
But वैसे like I mean it's a much bigger deal then. Of course, Bethesda comes with like a bunch of studios as well. ZeniMax
Yeah.
के
Yeah.
अंदर जो भी है.
Yeah. Microsoft can totally afford the overhead without immediately thinking of short-term profits, right? That's the best
Yeah.
part about Microsoft. So they're like, you guys chill, just do your job, don't release buggy games. Yeah, I hope that's what they're saying, telling Todd Howard. They did like a small. I even saw like a 30-minute podcast that Major Nelson did, where Phil Spencer was present, Pete Hines was present, and Todd Howard was present. Pete Hines, Todd Howard, Major Nelson were mostly just talking about how this is an amazing merger of studios. We have always liked to work together, all that normal stuff. Phil Spencer is who said, there's interesting things coming. Might not stop here. So it felt like a decision that was headed by Phil Spencer mostly.
Right. And also,
So
I'm more interested with where Sony, because even Sony said they're also looking into acquisitions and stuff. And for the longest time, there was a rumor that there would be merger between Sony and Konami and many other things, right? I'm wondering if this might fast track that as well.
I wonder how good a merger with Konami would be. What like
It would be
Metal
an insane merger.
what titles do Konami control?
Huh?
Contra, Castlevania,
Contra,
this one,
Castlevania,
Metal Gear.
Solid, Silent Hill, or everything that was great in the 90s.
Right. But Metal Gear was very famous because of Kojima, right? And
Yeah,
And Kojima works with Sony, right?
yeah, true.
they could do something.
Obsidian
I-
and Bethesda all over again. So that has been a rumor for the longest time. I wonder if they're going to go forward with that and stuff. That'll be interesting to see how Sony reacts to this as well.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, they're not in the same position. They are like 20 times smaller than Microsoft.
See, here's the thing. Last Monday we saw Microsoft buy Bethesda. Tomorrow we might see suddenly also about the Sega announcement that's being rumored around, right?
I am a little more apprehensive of that, the Sega merger, because of how good relations they have with the other two, both Nintendo and Sony. That might be a little harder sell to me than something like Bethesda. Even for Xbox, like Sega's best sales come from PC and PS4. So I don't know how much interest Microsoft might have with that.
I mean, PC is a pretty big place for Microsoft now.
Yeah, so
Clearly.
that's a little harder sell for me than Bethesda. Bethesda makes instant sense.
But Microsoft is buying more. Like we know this. They have said themselves.
I see more of from Western side studios that they might want to get rather than something like Sega is what I'm saying.
I think they might get like one Japanese studio or publisher because they need to establish a leg in the Japanese market. I was hoping I was hoping they would go for somebody like Capcom, who's kind of been on the up and up over the last few. And
Look,
because
Capcom is doing well, right? With Devil May Cry.
yeah. They're not doing bad, but I mean Bethesda also wasn't doing terrible. I mean their games were not hitting as hard, but I would assume that Capcom would cost a lot lesser than Bethesda, but Capcom, like, I think one of the things with Game Pass, especially, is that we might end up seeing a lot of smaller games because like, so one of the reasons why Sony doesn't do Game Pass is they've said like their games take over $100 million to make at times. You cannot have like a 30-hour experience जिसमें 30 or 25-hour experience जिसमें like hundreds of millions of dollars have been put in, but that's just it. Like 30 hours when it's done and you don't play it. So that won't last in a subscription model, but something like Sea of Thieves, Fallout 76, State of Decay 2, Halo Infinite,
Live
games
games
like
or
these.
service kind of games.
Yeah, yeah, those are what suits a subscription model best. So my thought was, will that lead to like these AAA big hits like Last of Us being less of a thing, and games like Sea of Thieves becoming more of a thing, uh, even with Bethesda making games like those, or studios under Bethesda making games like those just to fit the Game Pass model. Like, I wonder if that ends up happening. That'll be kind of a bummer, and I hope, especially for that, I hope my Sony keeps putting out these big hits that they have been, because those are amazing. Like, something like Last of Us or Tsushima doesn't get made by somebody like Microsoft. I think
Right.
not that Microsoft can't do it. I don't think Microsoft sees a profit in it
No,
or
I
sees
also,
money in
I
it.
also, I also.
Let me talk on this, Manas, because this is the thing I've discussed in the last 3 podcasts as well. That the Game Pass model benefits the games as a service model more, right?
Yeah,
And Sony, first of all, it's like the reason the Game Pass model exists is because Microsoft has the leverage for that. Sony is a much smaller company,
yeah,
and like I said, it's again with Sony being very hands-on with the development of the kind of games, right? And being in touch with the market. They have groomed their fan base since the days of PS1, right?
yeah,
And the single player experience is something that they have a brand image that's built on these narrative driven, story driven single player experience, and they constantly cater to that, right? And that's why they're very hands on with the model of sticking to that formula. So I do think they're going to continue sticking to that formula. Microsoft, it makes more sense for them to diversify, because that's the Game Pass model. You get a diverse crowd, you diversify
yeah.
your content, and obviously games as service model is going to benefit that pass more. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
I mean, imagine something like Red Dead that took like 7 years. Do you think somebody puts in 7 years to put a game out on Game Pass? Like, I don't see that happening.
True.
Knowing this is 7 years, dale so much detail in the game, and you don't get to hear then reports like weekend over one weekend it made over $800 million, because Game Pass just doesn't have numbers like those. It has like subscription models. So how will you put a number next to Red Dead or something like that? So I maybe that kind of stuff is the negative part of how good Game Pass is.
But
See, the
Microsoft
thing
can
is,
buy it
the
off,
thing
right?
is, the thing is, the thing with the Game Pass and Microsoft is Microsoft can afford it. Microsoft can
Yeah.
afford not selling, millions of copies on day one. Sony can't, because
Right.
one
Yeah.
of the main revenues of Sony comes from the games they're selling, not just their, like, I think we have discussed several times. They actually sell their consoles at a lesser number than they cut costs and they take the damage over there so that they can sell you the games for a profit, and they make money through that. So for Microsoft, I mean, making profit isn't their like immediate goal. Like, I can see that they're a business, right?
Definitely, because Sony has if you think about it, while the PlayStation division is doing, they've been struggling hard in other divisions. Like their movie division has taken a huge hit. Their electronics, other than PlayStation, is going down. Their TV services, right, took a hit. Things like Animax, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
So like Sony, something that electronics may I want to mention. Sony used to have widely popular Xperia phones back in the day, which are nowhere near inside these days, right? So that's just one example of showing that their electronic division and other divisions are also taking a hit.
I mean, especially TV with the concept of streaming and all, right? Like, where do you see Animax anymore? Like, where do you see other things anymore?
And they make TVs themselves, right? I'm surprised. Does Sony make monitors? No, right?
They make Bravia, right? The TVs.
Yeah, they don't make monitors, if
I
I'm
don't think
correct.
they make monitors. Yeah.
Interesting. I guess, yeah, that goes with the PlayStation entire thing. but very like, yeah, what I want to say is Microsoft can actually go slow on this. They don't have to think of immediate short term. I'm sure even for Microsoft it costs $100 million to make games, but Halo Infinite was what, almost 5-6 years in development at this point, right?
And Halo Infinite is games as service as well. Like, now
Yeah.
you think about it, right?
Is
So
it?
yeah,
It will be. Yeah, it will.
be a
I mean,
license.
I thought it's a single player.
No, it'll
no,
have
there's multiplayer.
I mean, it's a multiplayer,
Halo
but-
has always been a multiplayer heavy game.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But
Multiplayer has
it's
always been where Halo's strength has lied. They have
Right.
strong single campaigns, at least the first three, and Reach and all.
right,
But multiplayer was where the game thrived.
right,
So,
right.
as a live service, that game makes a lot of sense, and with the Game Pass model also, that game makes a lot of sense. So the return on investment for Halo is a lot more than for, say, something like Sony making Last of Us.
Yeah, very interesting times. I am genuinely hyped for Xbox and Xbox whatever they're doing. Speaking of which, we can just move on to the next topic, which is Xbox sold out in India, Xbox Series X, not S, which is interesting.
Makes a lot of sense in hindsight, Microsoft.
Haha.
Which makes a lot of sense in hindsight, Microsoft.
Yeah, yeah.
Price console at 35.
So I'll just put up the article here by Marco Reactor. Xbox Series X sold out in India, but that's probably because this article mentions the Xbox Series X came for a ratio of 5:1. So for every 5 Xbox Series S came 1 Xbox Series X. Right, this was unconfirmed detail by retailers who are actually selling these things to you guys, middlemen basically.
They shipped more Xbox Series S.
Yeah, there's more Xbox Series S in India, and they're not selling out because of that. Like, for example, if there's one Xbox Series X, they have sent 5 Xbox Series S, and this is something we have seen in in everything, not just consoles. I should mention even in graphic cards. I can tell you this for a fact: the lower end graphic cards comes in more bulk than the higher end graphic cards, like 3080 or say 3090, right? Each brand, like even Zotac and others, are getting very limited amounts of cards today, which is why we are seeing the national shortage and stuff like that. Or higher end cards compared to the lower end stuff. So yeah, this is common. Like, this makes sense, but 5:1, really?
Microsoft is the Microsoft man. It is something.
Yeah. And I want to mention, going back, I know we are staying on the Microsoft topic a bit too much, but going back to the Microsoft thing, I want to mention how I mentioned, like, Microsoft is consumed like Xbox, right? And Xbox division, like Microsoft employees are the people working in Xbox division. So what I found out is that Microsoft is hiring people for Xbox in India. But here's the thing: if you go look up the job details and everything, you won't find anything Xbox related. You will find there's a single marketing job for Microsoft written, and there's something about selling Windows 10 keys and other things as well. So whoever is in, like, and I've verified this with someone working at Microsoft, that this is an Xbox position, even though the requirements say that you have to sell, or the job description say that you have to do a lot of sales tasks, that is not, say, Xbox things. Which is very interesting and weird. Like, from I have reported on Microsoft from the longest time. When I was in AcidCast, I wrote a huge article on Microsoft. Before that, there was a lot of poking around, and it's been interesting because Microsoft is, like we discussed, it's a $1 trillion company. So we're like, they must have some kind of presence. Even Sony has Sony centers everywhere with PlayStation. So why isn't there something like an Xbox anything in India, right? So the thing is, there's a lot of traditional working in Microsoft in India. I don't know about abroad, but in India for sure. So people who are working in Xbox from India are not just handling Xbox, they're handling multiple other things at Microsoft, which means there's no defined effort, there's no focus into the Xbox division, which is very clear when you see the messaging. I contacted one of the community managers for Xbox ambassadors, asking them over Twitter, is there an Xbox any ambassadors program or anything in India where I can just help Xbox grow, right? And they linked me the Xbox India Twitter, and I had to point it out to the community manager that the Twitter last tweeted out in 2017.
Oh dear.
And then the community manager started following me, so I'm like, okay, even they don't know clearly, right? If they're doing these things. So yeah, it's a behemoth of a company that's like, we don't exactly know who's on the driver's seat, and there are multiple drivers. There's multiple like there's one driver for each region. We don't know who's driving in India. That's the thing. We don't know if it's like, if people are getting decided right now. And I am a bit more interested in it because Satya Nadella is Indian, right? All of these decisions about $7.5 billion acquisition will not go past.
With this though,
Huh?
what does Satya Nadella has to do with this though?
I mean, come on, you were born in India. Give us the games. What the hell? He puts out posts of buying Bethesda in LinkedIn. The least he can do is say, "You fam at India. Here's Xbox Game Pass in retail." You can't buy Xbox Game Pass if you have a debit card in India. Like, there is literally zero support. So yeah, it's like a behemoth of a company that's moving very slowly. And I want to point out how Manas said that Xbox might buy a Japanese company rather than a Western one. I think that's true, because Phil Spencer over and over again has said how Xbox was very late during the Xbox One and PS4 era to enter Japan, and how they completely lost that region, and that's why they're doing everything in their power to get Japan, apart from America, where they are doing a lot of EMI stuff, like $25 over 2 years for Xbox Series X, $35 over 2 years for Xbox Series X, which is amazing. Again, you are also getting the Game Pass, and the Game Pass itself is like $10 a month, right? So if you buy Xbox Series X over 2 years, you're actually getting an amazing value in comparison.
I think Square Enix makes a lot of sense in terms of acquisition. I hope not.
That would be amazing. I don't see. Here's the thing: Sony was talking about Starfield exclusivity with Bethesda, and Microsoft was like, "Okay, we bought Bethesda now," so it might happen. But I want to point out that they're doing a lot of things in Japan. Immediately after PS5 digital got announced, Xbox Series S price in Japan fell, right? Even before the pre-orders went live, I mention. So they are aggressive about this. They're going for the cloud in Japan by 2021.
Where it helps them is because they're mobile games which they're planning to develop, right? Because Japan has this complete opposite issue where the AAA sector is losing out big time to the mobile games.
But
right?
they sell consoles a lot. Japan is one of the console hubs.
Yeah, consoles. But the main reason why Nintendo also moved to a hybrid of the model of a portable thing is because that one does way better than their console market and stuff like that, right? So that's where Xbox might benefit from the mobile game division as well that they're going for.
That's all the information I had to share on Xbox and Microsoft. I am very excited to see what happens internationally, also what happens in India. Though I think what happens in India would be very interesting to see, because we have no clue. Like, there's been a lot of poking around by journalists like Rishi for what's happening, trying to figure out from even fans who are just following Xbox. And well, I said whatever I had to say, which is even the community manager, international community managers had no clue what the scene is in India. But yeah, nice times. I think like Xbox is on a better place than they were, say, 2 weeks ago for the next generation, and that's probably definitely for the better. Yeah, I think we can move on to the next topic. It will probably be a much shorter topic, which is ex Blizzard employees went on to find 2 new studios under a umbrella company called Dreamhaven. One is Moonshot Games, and the other, I think, something else, which is for mobile games or smaller titles, right? and this company is right next door to Blizzard's actual HQ in California, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's literally right next door, and there's a reason why. No, I mean not literally, but like just walk down, right?
Like
It's not-
basically, if they went down to get coffee, they would probably meet their
yeah,
ex-employee.
yeah, stuff like that. And
Hey, how are you doing? Still slaves? Ha, look at us. Being free at the games we want to work. Over here, the cool division. Right?
so there's a reason why all of this is happening. I think anyone who's been following Blizzard or playing Blizzard games, particularly me, I play a lot of Blizzard games. I've been fan of Blizzard ever since StarCraft originally. StarCraft I played, then Warcraft 3 I played Diablo 2, I played Diablo 3, I played StarCraft 2. I played almost all Blizzard games out there. I've invested a lot, and I think it's clear for any long-term Blizzard fans how Activision has slowly eaten up Blizzard from the inside. Like you can't see it on the outside. From the outside, Blizzard is still Blizzard. They have their statues, Warcraft, and nice and shiny. From the inside, Activision has taken control, and I think it's very evident when you see games like Heroes of the Storm, particularly, or even Overwatch, which has been weird, but yeah, I think the one of the biggest games you can see where Activision influences is the most, which is something of a failure of a game for me, is the Warcraft 3 remake, which was Warcraft 3 Reforged. Does any one of you know actually what happened to Warcraft 3 Reforged?
I've seen.
I have a brief idea of it.
Yeah,
Do you
even
know?
I've seen it, but I don't really know. Like, is there an issue behind it?
There's a huge issue. So
Yeah.
when I was growing up, there were three legendary gaming companies back in the day, back in late 2000s and early 2010, right? These three companies were Valve, Rockstar Games, and Blizzard. They were consistently putting out games that were top of the line easily, right? By that time, yeah, I should mention by 2010, Dota 2 hadn't come out yet. Dota 2 was a 2012 thing officially for Valve. It was out in closed beta before that. So yeah, they were putting out top hitting games across the board. And Activision just in 2008 or 2009 had said that they were going to have a merger with Blizzard, and back then they had said, obviously, like every corporate company does, that they're going to be independent. We're not going to give them we're not going to infringe on their creative stuff, blah blah. But what happened is the recent one, they decided to remake Warcraft 3, which was a huge deal because Warcraft 3 was easily one of the games that made Blizzard who they are in as a company, because Warcraft 3 defined a lot of things. Not only was it one of the best RTS games that has come out back then, not only did it give rise to the biggest MMO ever. Before all of PUBG, all of games as a service, this was the original games as a service, right? And they were making $15 a month after selling you the game, after selling you the expansion. So they were making a lot of money just keeping that game alive. And it was a genuinely nice game. But Warcraft 3, they said, we're gonna remake the entire game from grounds up. We're gonna redo the textures, redo the voice lines, redo the cinematics, add new story bits to the game to give it a retroactive lore to what is happening in World of Warcraft, right? Because World of Warcraft comes after Warcraft 3 in the storyline. And a lot more things, including more optimization, blah blah blah. Almost none of that was true, and you would expect that from a Chinese company. Like I said, Blizzard might be a Chinese company at this point with how they're working and acting. But yeah, I spent $30 on that game only to discover, you remember what I said about better cinematics, right? Like completely new cinematics. That was never there. The cinematics they showed in the trailer itself at BlizzCon in 2018 did not show up in the game.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have time, but they showed the full cinematics in BlizzCon. And you're wondering, wait, what's happening, right? It's when I say it's a new cinematics. Okay, I have to show you this video of this to give you guys a better example. Warcraft 3 Reforged versus original.
I think I had heard about this. Kina, they had said that they would be delivering particular features that were outright not there. Yeah, that is very scummy, especially to do that to like a game that is so beloved and like a cult classic of sorts.
The thing is,
I don't think it was cult classic. It was an international.
yeah, it was
phenomenon.
an international phenomenon. It's not like a cult classic. Like I said, Warcraft 3 is what made Blizzard in a lot of ways.
Right.
Like it's the GTA 5 for say Rockstar games today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to find like a comparison what was shown and what happened. Like what was revealed and what came out. Something like that. I have to find the video. There was a lot of outrage, and the thing is, Blizzard completely like they went scot free with this, and I'm surprised. Like imagine if Rockstar told you, they're giving you GTA 5 3 San Andreas remake, and then they're like, it's the same game, but with 1080p and 4K textures. Nothing.
Right, I remember there was something, and you could not log in with the classic. You could not
Yeah. Here's the worst part. If you own the classic game, Manas, if you own, say, Warcraft 3 Classic, you could not log back into it without buying Warcraft 3 Reforged, something like that. It happened. And when you started Warcraft 3 Reforged, if you wanted to play, so Classic merged with the Warcraft 3 Reforged, so there was no way to separate the two engines, and because of that, even Classic had issues. Like whatever new bugs came in the new client, even Classic had those bugs, which was never there in the final product of the Classic version of Warcraft 3. So they retroactively added bugs into the original game.
Damn,
a good thing Blizzard will teach you.
I mean, looking at the direction that Blizzard is going, especially with Overwatch 2, it'll be more like Overwatch 1, maybe a mode or so extra, but nothing that really like excited somebody like me who did like Overwatch, but next time getting into it with something like a second game, Overwatch 2. But uska bhi, and Diablo 4 actually looks very interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty interested in that game.
See, the developers themselves are pretty nice. I imagine they would be, right?
Developers are usually not the ones.
Yeah. These calls, and there are a lot of interviews and everything came out over the last 2 years where it's been reported that Activision has taken over. Like, it's not Activision has taken over, more like the marketing departments and the finance departments have gotten more power over the developers, right?
You see developers with dark circles in their eyes and be like, what? You want us to work at Overwatch 2? Shit, I guess we will make Overwatch 2. Go back to coding.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that's partly one of the reasons why something like Dreamhaven even came true, which is basically a lot of ex-Blizzard employees, including the main umbrella
publishing house.
The publishing house is called Dreamhaven, and there's two studios. There's
You can tell that yes, this is the thing where we only make dream games now.
Escape from the Blizzard and come to Dreamhaven.
That's a great name, man. That name is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So there are two studios under Dreamhaven. One is Moonshot Games, which is for their bigger AAA titles, and one is some other studio name, like I forgot.
Secret Door.
Secret Door, yes, Secret Door. Secret Door. Moonshot Games.
Moonfrog Games.
Moonshot Games, not fuck.
Okay, I heard Moonfrog Games. That's like, what?
Moonshot. And the second studio is Secret Door. Secret Door is going to make like smaller, more indie-ish titles, and Moonshot Games is going to go for the AAA titles and so on. And the CEO of this entire publishing house and everyone is Mike Morhaime, which is the former CEO of Blizzard. He left, and if you see the employees list in both of these games and the publishing house, game studios and the publishing house, it's all ex-Blizzard stuff. And it's all and there's, like I said, there's a reason for why that these studios are next door to Blizzard, right? It's telling the Blizzard stuff. Wait, guys, if you want to escape,
Right here.
they're basically poaching employees. Okay, they're poaching employees, and they're not even ashamed of it.
Have cookies here, and you can see in front of the shop. And they're probably getting a see-through glass windows where everybody was
Yeah. I imagine the studio is like on the ground floor, like complete one side is just glass, and every Blizzard employee that just walks by can see like it's all bright and everyone's having fun and everyone's happy inside.
like, these are like, even the pizzas here, it's
Like the best part is, the Blizzard employees are walking by at like 7 p.m. to get coffee at night, and they see Dreamhaven lights are off because there is no crunch.
we are dreaming. For
Oh god. So yeah, that. Let's see what comes of Dreamhaven. Yeah, and another short topic that I guess one last topic, which is No
I
Man's
just
Sky.
really appreciate how it's like you see a symbiote taking hold in Blizzard, right? And it's basically the CEOs fighting back, like who am I? And realizing who they were and like fighting back against the symbiote. And like, no, this is not the kind of person I wanna be. And just going the separate way. I always appreciate such a redemption arc.
So yeah, I think that's about Dreamhaven. I don't know how much we can talk about it because they haven't actually made games. They're just ex-Blizzard stuff. They're veteran Blizzard stuff. So I'm expecting something quality and of polish. Something that I would expect Blizzard to come out, but maybe smaller titles initially. But I'm excited for sure. The next one, again, like something, speaking of a redemption arc, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky has had a redemption arc over the last 3 years. They got another huge update this year, or rather specifically this week, which is No Man's Sky Origins, which adds a host of things into the game. Let me just bring out the post where I wrote. Do you play No Man's Sky? Does any of you play No Man's Sky?
I played
Yeah,
a little bit with Tanmay and Soporno and all, but I never really got deep into it. It's a game. These kind of games, I'm stupid. Okay, it takes a lot of time for me to understand.
It's grindy also, but yeah.
Yes, so it's a hard game for me, but it's always been a game that I've been interested whenever the discussion pops up.
What about you, Manas? You like
I
relaxing
jump
games?
in every time.
You jump in
I
every
jump
time?
in every time there's a big update. Even this time, like because I'm working on some stuff, I want to do like an in-depth video on No Man's Sky. I think that game is very interesting, has a lot of potential. I want to explore it more.
Let's
That
play
game
it
really-
together. Let's play it together. I've been looking to
Yeah,
play
I
it
want
with
to.
someone.
I think the thing with No Man's Sky, I feel is you have to like sit with it for like hours to really make like one leg of progress that will make you want to play more. Like if you play a little bit, which happens to me a lot, I jump in during an update, utna time nahi hai, sit for like an hour, didn't even get off the first planet, so zyada samajh bhi nahi aaya, because even the place you like spawn in at could be like a freezing planet where you're already starting to die. But I think with every update, like what they've done, like adding third person, adding multiplayer, base building, deeper crafting, and this new one which adds better biomes. Especially with this, I just started a new game. Started a new game, so the biome I already could feel like the place that I'm in, it's better looking. It has better fauna and flora. Plus, even the terrain looks pretty amazing. So I could notice a difference from where I was starting off when I would be playing No Man's Sky before this update dropped.
Yeah. So I've been following No Man's Sky since day one. I was one of the disappointed people initially, but I feel like they have done a lot of justice to the people who have bought it initially. Like even if you bought it for full price on day one, I don't think you have much right to be sad now today, because they haven't charged you anything more for it, right? And they have consistently given you more and more updates. So it's like they have truly tried to redeem themselves, whatever they said, whatever promises did not come true. And they have even added the sandworms thing, which is great. So just to go over like what are the new updates.
Dune.
Yeah. They added. So initially in No Man's Sky, you remember there was like a trailer that came
Right.
out in 2015,
15, I
16,
think.
15.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
they showed like a big snake going through the planet, and that snake was never there, right? And everyone was like, "Where is the snake?" Right? They finally added that, finally. And I think these things aren't killable, and they will just one shot you probably if they catch you.
Shit, they do sure
Yeah.
do look like that.
Yeah. So there's new planets entirely. There's like new planets with new planet generation systems. There's like binary and ternary stars for the non-science nerds. That means 2 and 3 stars in a single system. Um, Dramatic new landscapes and much bigger mountains and stuff. But existing worlds aren't changed. So if you have an existing base, it's still as is. But there are new planets added to every system of sorts. User interface refresh, new alien fauna, volcanoes, clouds, like bigger clouds, like actual clouds, like you can just fly through clouds now, like you can do it in say Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's marshes and swamps, which is like a new biome entirely, which wasn't there before. Improved photo mode, upgraded ultra settings for PC, gigantic new structures and buildings. Like they have added like big buildings now, on planet, not just on the space. New infestation, firestorms, tornadoes, lightning, gravitation anomalies, and weather can now affect your gameplay in various ways. So, for example, if there's a firestorm,
Beyond Good and Evil 2, where if you have creators, and that might affect the flora and fauna and all the environment around it.
yeah, your planet already affects the like planet and weather already affects the weather around it, but there's a gameplay way of affecting. So, for example, if there's blizzard going on, right, you're mining around that time, so your mining tool will get heated up much slower because of that.
Yeah.
So, and if you have like a firestorm or something going on, I think your jetpack can last longer because of that.
Yeah, this I thought was very cool. Ki adding like some positive benefits to like a hazard, because you're anyways taking damage, might as well kuch to fayda ho mera.
Yeah.
Like, why am I even here then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. It was pretty cool.
Meteors are a thing now, and and they have added like discount Horizon Zero Dawn robots in some planets. So there's like and then the sandworms. So that's about it.
Yeah.
Very nice. I want to play this. So if you add me
Tell
on
the
Steam.
Thanos they had to put it in this year because they were like, "Hey, Dune is coming out next
Yeah.
in a few months, right? People are gonna be asking, right?"
Yeah. I'm glad they finally added the sandworms. I'm glad they're still updating the game actually. And they said they termed this update as Origins because they plan to update more going forward. So we'll probably see a bigger update again next year, which is nice. So yeah, all that very cool, very nice. I think that's about it for the topics today. So coming to the last section, what games are we playing? We'll start with Manas. He's the bigger gamer here.
I've been playing some Crisis Remastered. I finished. Wait, I'll talk about Crisis first. Crisis, I think, looks amazing, man.
Really?
On PC. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. But the thing is, I played this mod called Blackfire mod. If you played Crisis a lot and you modded it, the Blackfire mod is pretty much what this remaster looks like. So I've seen Crisis looking this good in Blackfire mod, which is like, hey, if you don't want to buy Crisis Remastered, get Blackfire mod and the game looks amazing. I think yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I think with the remastered, the one thing that stands out is the ray tracing. They're using Svogi, not PTG, and not path traced, but more software based. But still, Svogi uses the RTX cards pretty well. I think the good thing with this remaster is I think the sounds and all are a little punchier. Like with the Blackfire mod, like they weren't playing around with sound and all as much. The weapon ka thoda feel is different, even though surprisingly enough, I think the biggest thing about Crisis is like comparing Crisis Remastered to Mafia Definitive Edition. Crisis Remastered doesn't feel like a dated game because the game is old, like right. That I think kind of goes to
Remaster or Crisis.
Crisis and even Crisis, like because uska remaster hi hai, and the gameplay doesn't feel dated. Like it still feels pretty modern. I think kind of goes to show how ahead of its time Crisis was back in the day, because it's not just कि उसके graphics were next level. uh, the gameplay also, like even the stealth, some the AI is kind of fucked up. Ki sometimes the AI will spot you like 200 meters away, like for a second that you come out of cloak mode, but at the same time you're standing right next to them, and the teammate is dead, and they're still looking around confused ki like what happened to this guy. So that oddity is still there, but I feel ki the shooting, the overall explosions, the amount of physics in the environment, it's not. Honestly, I think Crisis, the original, pushed it a little bit further with how the foliage would be affected when you're throwing grenades and all. Utna realistic nahi hai effect, but it looks better. Performance is not the best. I think optimization could have been a lot better. Like it chugs on my 2080. Uh,
Yeah. They,
it,
they,
it
they said can your PC run Crisis in 2020 as like an achievement? Like I mean, no offense to that game, but
But
while that looks
we
like a
can run
nice.
Cyberpunk 2077 on low graphics card. That's
See,
not really a.
yeah, that's the thing. I am not very hyped for the I mean, it's a nice thing. But my reason for not being hyped about Crisis is exactly what you said, Manus. I've seen mods that make it look as good, right?
yeah,
So I'm like, what's the purpose of this? And if you like, again, like you said, Crisis for a game back in the day was easily one of the best looking games in the
yeah.
world, like, back then, right? At that time. In 2020, it's like, it's okay, it's shiny, it's nice, but it doesn't do that much. If you see Mafia 1 to Mafia right now, what the remake
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
the AI over there is still a bit kind of but and the gameplay is also I would say Crisis has a better gameplay in that sense, but the game looks so much better, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
the-
And also, I think the time difference is also that much key. I mean, Mafia was much before Crisis also. So
true.
I think, yeah, this looks Mafia Definitive Edition looks amazing. Like it looks better than Mafia 3 in many ways. So I finished the game. I think the
Oh,
story really goes to show. Yeah, yeah.
you finished the
I
game.
had
Wait, it
a
came out 2 days ago. How long is
no,
it?
no, I had the game before launch.
Oh,
I got a
okay.
code. So
Oh, are you
but I
reviewing
had it.
it?
Yeah, yeah. I want to. Uh,
Amaze.
yeah. I
Mafia is one
think.
of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, and even I remember playing Mafia 1 back in the day, and I remember uh, I think I didn't play it at launch. I played it a little later, so I was put off by the graphics. But this remake, gameplay head dated. This is an open world game that is almost completely linear.
Yes.
That's what I heard
Like I
from
mean,
everywhere.
literally no reason to go exploring. Not even no reason to go exploring. The game doesn't give you opportunity to go exploring because
I think there's just
mission
like
after
one taxi mission, I suppose. And even that is on the rails,
yeah
I suppose. Yeah.
yeah that is also like do it for like 2 minutes, like pick up two passengers, then like you back in the mission. That is only once, and also almost every mission will start you off in a car with somebody going to a mission. Like aisa nahi hai ki there is doubt, like so I wanted to explore. Like I like the look of the city, looked amazing, like the smoke coming out of the factories, uh the smoke coming out of the sewer plates, and जो पानी के reflections हैं, the metros, the trains going over the roads, like the ones that are above the roads. So all of that, like the shadows they cast, like it's a living, breathing, beautiful city with the game never giving you a reason or an opportunity to explore. So I would then wait. Ki sometimes there would be missions where you have to go pick somebody up. So I wouldn't go pick them up first. That would be
Explore.
the time to explore the city. So I would then explore and look around, look at corners. I mean, of course, there is nothing to do, but it's so pretty that I same with GTA, right? Like Kafi Bari, there is nothing much to do, like in terms of going into a corner and looking at it. But I wanted to look at, and the game looks amazing. The story, I think, really holds up like very well. Like
Story is like the quintessential, gangster story from the days of Godfather and Goodfellas,
yeah,
right? Gives a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
those vibes. I had to ask one thing: did they finally fix the racing game in the racing?
It looked very nice in the trailers.
Is it,
So
the look part was never the problem. That car
I think
controlled like ass in the original.
how it yeah it can vehicles control very well. They control, like you feel like you're playing a GTA game with us time ke vehicles.
Acha.
Yeah, they control very well bikes and cars, everything. And even the racing wala, I remember, like for both there were 3 laps. Dono laps mein I was the last. Somehow I don't know what happened. Third lap mein if there is some kind of rubber banding or something, I was just first. All of a sudden, dekha everybody is behind me. I
I
won.
think it was a
So
scripted rubber banding that they probably did it as.
yeah, probably. It felt weird. Like I wasn't driving amazingly well, but I wasn't like crashing or going being too slow because
Yeah.
by then I had gotten used to the driving काफी enough
As
phases
in, as
थे
in, you
with the
passed
cop.
them, or you didn't even see passing them.
नहीं I passed them. All of a sudden, it just felt like either they slowed down or I moved
Okay,
faster.
okay. So this is a thing that happens in a lot of racing games, plus a lot of
Yeah.
normal games where I think something called tailwind and something where
No, so it's a very common thing where you program it into the.
yeah. So they slow down basically. They slow down
Yeah.
towards the end and they let you pass. Yeah.
Like
Some
prediction.
animation weirdness also with the characters and how they move.
Hmm.
Damn good game though. Like I would highly recommend ki, like if you want a
I,
good story,
I'm looking
play
to
it.
play it. I want a good mafia story.
Story of
Yeah.
Mafia was one that hit me real hard, especially towards the end, where
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it for the people who haven't played it, but the ending was one of those games where the ending really hit you hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to explore that again.
Yeah, start to end. Like I don't know if they changed the ending or anything because I don't remember much of the original's ending. This is damn good though. Like the way it wraps up finishes, like exactly how I would. I was very satisfied with it. Like I
Does it
think,
end with that regards from Salieri?
yeah. Oh yeah, that
They
is it.
didn't change it.
Yeah. Oh okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So okay, they didn't change it. Okay. So, but also one of the things that I like in games and stories like this, like usually there would be like a big bad guy and you would kill him, and that would be like the end, right? Like the heroes would be walking off into the sunset, and that's it. This is one of those games like The Last of Us and some other games that I really like. Ki when you think it's over and like everybody should just settle down and stop, just keeps going and has a little bit more, which I think kind of. No, it's not something every game can pull off, but if somebody with a developer with good grace can really that feels like the packaging at the end, like okay, that final few hours were like where you wrapped the whole thing up instead of just putting a bullet in it and being done with it. I think this is a game that also just 9-10 hours, it's not even too long, like just
The
two
entire game
sittings and
is
it's done.
9 hours, 9 10 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like over 9-10 hours for me, like, and I play very slow. Like I just, like I said, I roamed around, explored and all. So don't do all of that, and it's even shorter. But
Yeah.
like, totally worth it. But not, I think Steam पे 2000 का है, I wouldn't. I would recommend it for like 800 or 1000 rupees. Because not much else to do other than the story.
Mhm.
It's a game where it's a short game, but you remember every moment of those stories because they were
Yeah,
such
yeah.
well constructed, right? I
Yeah.
I just remember. I immediately remember the dialogue. Regards to Sally, I have dialogues memorized from that game from just
Yeah.
one playthrough. The characters, Polly, Tommy, they have stuck
Yeah.
with me throughout through a long time. They're such colorful characters. The whole environment is just so well done. Yeah, I really want to play this game, man.
Yeah. And actually, you saying that, like the characters and all of it, that kind of reminded me. That's true. Ki in the 9 hours, I did come to care about all the other characters. All the other characters were well explored. Maybe could be done a little bit more, but honestly, they were well explored. Like all characters, the mafia, the Don that you're working for, his friends, your enemies is some of their allies, the cops, the FBI guys who are after you. Like everybody is well explored. Kind of makes me think maybe The Last of Us 2 was a little too long, but then I think Last of Us 2 kind of makes up for it in like how tight that gameplay is. Like I've never seen console pe third person gameplay that good.
Oh, yeah.
And like I think I think Mafia suffers a lot in terms of gameplay, so maybe that's how they manage to keep it short, because they don't have too much stuff with the gameplay, back to back banger story moments, and then be done with it.
Last of Us 2 definitely slack because they put two games in one.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
totally.
much point.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
which I think was like good value for us, right? Like I was
Yeah,
happy to
true.
take it, but yeah, that easily could have been two games. Like yeah, if you play Mafia, you'll see it ends where you would expect it to end. Thoda bahut extra hai end mein, taki to really wrap it up. Yeah, play it. But I think that's mostly. I want to jump into No Man's Sky, but I'll make time for it later. Oh, beach mein I just. Oh, also like I know everybody looked at like No Man's Sky because it's like one massive update, but also scored, that game scored a lot like Arma and all that went into 1.0. So I finally, I like games like these. Like I've been a big fan of Tarkov. I like these thode hardcore military type shooters. Like I'm very bad at like something like PUBG, because PUBG I think was like the best chance for me to get into something like that, but I couldn't because multiplayer mein, I would always get killed. But with Squad and Arma, like there is still more team based, and Arma has a campaign. So like I've been jumping into Squad more and
Are
seeing
you
what's up.
do you play
Yeah.
Valorant? Do you play Valorant, India's next big
Uh,
game?
I don't like shooters like those a lot. Like CS:GO, Valorant is not my. That shooting doesn't do it for me. Like it's either Call of Duty level ka arcadishness or like Arma level ka like realism. नहीं
Hmm.
तो or Doom level, Doom Call of Duty, like that kind of stuff. Like
I'm a big
Valorant,
fan
CS:GO
of
doesn't.
I'm a big fan of Doom, but Doom never got a proper multiplayer. I was expecting for
Yeah,
like the multiplayer is so lame. It's like 2 versus 1. Like
Yeah,
who
there's
plays
some
it?
weird things with the multiplayer for that one.
I hope
I mean, if they
Microsoft
had
is
to,
like, hey, make a Doom multiplayer, please. I like
yeah,
Yeah,
because
Microsoft will do that. Microsoft is all about multiplayer.
Phil
and Doom 1
Spencer.
का multiplayer was pretty good. Like Doom 1 had a fun multiplayer. Like I mean, people didn't take to it, but I really thought it kind of reminded me of the Unreal Quake. Well, I think it wasn't just the same. It's a mix of like something like Unreal mixed with a little bit of Call of Duty.
Right.
That was what Doom ka multiplayer felt like, but I didn't hate it.
Hmm.
We're never getting another Unreal tournament, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
we do have one, but it's bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's never
bad.
finished.
That's bad only. It's never finished one either. What have you been playing with it?
Well, I finally got time to play what everybody has been talking about. I played a bit of Among Us.
Oh,
Yes,
Oh yeah.
okay.
I love it. It's my kind of game. I put made my character name as Mysterio. I got somehow, I don't know. I think the game probably noticed the name and made me the imposter 5 out of the 6 games. The only game where I was not the imposter, people kicked me out, and it said Mysterio is not an imposter, which I thought was the most hilarious thing ever.
Wait, Udit, so I've seen some people playing it, but I have literally never played Among Us. Can you explain what the game exactly is?
Oh yeah, you're gonna love this because if you look at the game, it's bare bones, simple design. All right.
Yeah,
So have
yeah.
you played with your group of friends? Have you played Mafia with a group of friends?
Have you played Chor Police with a group of friends? Just tell me
Chor
first.
Yeah.
It's
Same game.
basically that.
It's same thing.
Another thing, have
No,
you
but
watched this movie
tasks and
called?
everything.
Yeah,
Like how?
it's very similar to this movie called The Thing, right?
Okay,
Where
okay,
you're on a space station, right? And you're a crew, right?
okay,
And you're doing your daily tasks, but one among you is an imposter. So there's no leveling, there's no huge complex scaling and stuff like that. It's all
okay.
about communication and that fear of slowly the one among you is not right, is not right in the head or whatever, right? So you have to keep doing your tasks. The imposter has to sabotage the tasks, right? And
Oh,
slowly the task of the imposter is to kill everybody, right? So eventually, if you see a dead body or stuff, you can call a meeting, and you have to basically, it's a multiplayer thing. You have to vote for who you think the imposter is. And this game
okay.
is best with voice chat, where you communicate with everybody, and everybody's making a case. No, I'm not the imposter, right? I was doing this, and this guy's like, "Motherfucker, I saw you going there. You were chasing the guy like a creep in the corner. Nobody does that weird shit, right?"
So,
And
so,
so you basically vote people out.
to give you a basic perspective, if you want, like, this is not a game you want to play on online matchmaking, preferably. This is something.
Okay.
See, this is something you want to play with like a bunch of friends. So you can join us as well. We play Among Us.
Yeah, I want
now
to.
and
Yeah, I
then.
want to play this game.
I'll call you over at night, but this is like, it's basically 10. You can have a total of 10 people. There are like 3 different maps at the moment, and like he said, like you go about doing tasks. If you're a crewmate, your idea is go about doing tasks, and preferably if you see the imposter kill someone or whatever, if you know someone is the imposter, to kick them out by voting, right? And if both if like, so in any game you can have a total of 1, 2 or 3 imposters. I think a total max of 3 imposters in any game, but people generally play with like a full man squad of 10 and just 2 imposters, right? So I'm gonna speak on that side. So the idea is, if you want to win as a crewmate, you either finish all the tasks before you get killed or you guys get killed, or kick the imposter out using the meetings and voting system. If you're an imposter, your idea is to constantly keep sabotaging. So you can, for example, turn off the lights, right? Until someone fixes the lights, their vision cone becomes smaller, so you can't see what's happening around you, right? And then you can kill someone, and then while everyone is going to fix the lights at that time, right? Stuff like this. So there are different sabotages you can do. You can sabotage comms, for example, which will disable what tasks you have to do as a crewmate, right? So you can't see, you have to see that. So there are sabotages, there are ways to close doors, and imposters can also go through vents, which the normal crewmates cannot do. That's why you see a lot of memes about, I saw you go through the vents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun playing it with friends, because I do a lot of meta gaming, quote unquote, because I'm like, there's no lore behind this. This is not GTA RP. This is not
a lot of it.
But I am not playing it like an RP, right? I'm playing it like it's me. Okay, it's me playing. So for example, I know when someone is using the lying voice. You can tell when someone is lying, right? When they're like, "Oh, I was here," and they do shit like that. And you can. So I have this friend called Bongshot. You must know him, right? He was in a game. He was in several games. Because he is very aggressive. And he's like always accusing other people. We always thought he was the imposter and kicked him out. And every time we kicked him out, he was not the imposter. And there was a point of time, like, you have seen some of the videos, right, where people are literally raging out on Among Us, like, fuck you, like, what the hell? I was not. That happens if you are playing with your friends. That is not orchestrated by YouTubers. That is genuine emotions you feel.
I'll tell you on Discord. So me and my company, we made a Discord group where after work we play together, right? And there's a grudge between me. I'm a designer and my friends are game programmers. We've always had a grudge against each other because whenever we played Mafia and I got the Mafia, my immediate goal would be to get them kicked out.
Imposter,
right?
Mafia nahi.
I'm telling, we used to play Mafia as well, right?
Oh, okay,
So
that's okay.
So when we played here, the moment I killed one of the programmers, he would get so salty. He's like, "No, Mysterio is the imposter." I'm like, "You can't ruin the game for me 3 times."
So as soon as you die, so it's like an unwritten rule, right? Everyone's on Discord. As soon as you die, you aren't supposed to speak. Obviously, don't ruin the game for
yeah.
Right? And when you're working, when there is no meeting, you're not supposed to talk. So there's no way you can know someone has died unless you like spot their body and shit. It's basically chore police, okay? And it's the best if you have a bunch of friends and if you want to play this, and it's free on mobile, it's free on Android, so you can just tell. Yeah,
there's crossplay.
Yeah, there's crossplay. PC and Android, there's like full crossplay. So if your friends come over and they just need a mobile phone, they can just turn it on. And I think it's just so brilliant. And what I find more surprising is that this was created in 2018 and it just blew up recently.
If you look at the art and everything, it looks like a Newgrounds game, where it's like the basic art.
It looks like Java or something.
Hand drawn and stuff like that. Just looks so. It goes to show just good game design elements and install a fear of distrust, right? Makes for a great recipe for a game, right? Oh, it is beautiful. This game is brilliant because it's very easy to get into. Anybody can get into it. Doesn't take a lot of skill. There's no like high skill ceiling or something like that. You don't grow in levels. It's just get your group of friends, play together, have a good time, which you might or might not. I heard the game really gets to you if you're a crewmate. I don't know. I've always been the imposter. So
see. After some time later in the evening, I'll show you a clip of one of my friends, like Bombastro, getting kicked out. And that time, me and Silaj were the imposters, okay? And we made everyone believe someone else is the imposter and get him kicked out. And he was literally raging on his tree, okay? It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious to watch. It is hilarious to play. It's just an amazing game. Yeah. Very fun, very fun. I would definitely suggest. It costs nothing, so that's also a thing. On PC, it's $200. On mobile, it's
Yes,
free.
160, 180 something.
Yeah, and mobile it's free, so there's no cost to it. It's definitely a game that's made with love. And Among Us 2 was supposed to come out, that's cancelled, and they're just gonna retroactively add all the updates and the new things that they were planning to Among Us, the original game, which is great.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been playing anything much. I haven't been playing anything other than Valorant only. I've gone from Silver 3 to Silver 2. So so I've ranked down even more. Yeah, that's about it. Is there anything interesting coming? I'm just excited honestly for Cyberpunk at this point. Just tunnel vision.
Baldur's Gate.
What are
Baldur's
October?
Gate is coming
Oh,
end of
October is
September.
coming. Horror games.
Baldur's Gate is interesting. I am a big fan of Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
I have played both. And I just love the fact that you picked that game up because I can't discuss these games with anyone. So like, very nice. No, yeah, no one
very
plays.
excited to play
No
Baldur's
one, no one plays games like this. Okay, no one plays Divinity Original Sin 2 in India. It's like
Yeah, there is a very small audience, but there is. I've seen some other people. Like I remember playing Divinity 1 ka co-op with a friend. We finished it together on the PS4.
I mean, there are people, but it's a niche of a niche, right? It's
Yeah,
very few
totally.
people. In entirety of Calcutta, I probably know like 3-4 people who were excited for Baldur's Gate. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm excited for. The only reason I'm not probably gonna pick it up on day one is because it's early access. I'll probably pick up the full game when it comes out because I'll probably get frustrated after playing, first part, and I'm like, oh my god, what will happen next? What will happen next? I know that this is a much bigger game than Original Sin 2, which was already a very big game. Like the first level, if you had to complete, it take you like 10-15 hours, like the tutorial level. In the
Yeah,
first
I think,
island.
even with Baldur's Gate 3, I think it's launching into early access, and at launch only Act 1 is available.
Yeah. Only
So I'm
Act
kind of
1.
thinking maybe I won't. Yeah, only Act 1. So maybe I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'll just wait till the rest of it comes out.
That's what I'm thinking. So, and they will not add the other acts. They're adding Act 1, and they'll just use that as bugs fixing, gameplay optimization, and all that. And when the original game releases, every other act, like Act 2 and 3, will come out at once, basically.
Okay.
So I think that's the main plan, and that's fine. I think I'll go for the main game at once because I want the whole experience. Larian Studios creates amazing RPGs, like in a very different way. The voices and the dialogues are okay, like they do have consequences, but that's not what you're playing a Divinity Original Sin game for. You're generally playing it for the different things you can do with the gameplay. I think that's the same case for Baldur's Gate 3, where you can just push people off roofs and shit like that.
Legends and all, yeah.
You can push statues onto people and they might die. So yeah, this is Udit. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, the board game?
I play a bard in Dungeons and Dragons. I ran a campaign with a
Right.
friend of mine.
So you know how you can just do just about what is imaginable in your head in that game.
I know Divinity is like that.
No, Divinity is not like that. Baldur's Gate is like that. Baldur's Gate,
Baldur's Gate is a more
they're building it like a proper D&D game.
Baldur's Gate is literally Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited for that, but I'm more excited for Cyberpunk. I am like you said, Mafia you'll want to explore like nooks and crannies and shit like that, right? I want to do that in Cyberpunk. I want to go into the sewers. I want to see what's in the alleys. I want to hack everyone's emails and read what do sex
And you
stuff.
can expect in Cyberpunk that'll all be rewarded. Like
Yes. I'm so excited, and I have nothing else to play. And I talked about this other game before, but just for you, I'm saying this. If you haven't checked out this game already, definitely check it out. It's one of the sleeper hits, sudden announcement, sudden death kind of games that came out all of a sudden, and it's amazing. It's a 10 on 10 in my eyes. It's called Spiritfarer. It's like a 2D game.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I played it.
Oh, you
Damn
played
good
it?
game.
Oh,
Very surprising.
You
Yeah.
finished it?
Didn't finish it. I think let go of let one of the spirits,
Yeah.
let them go.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was like a good powerful moment. Yeah.
Oh my god, those moments come in every spirit. That's such a Italian
Spirit
kiss.
Fair is so good.
So cool. I'm very happy to see like a sudden, weird out of nowhere announcement and just a wonderful game like that.
Yeah. For
That was
people who don't
amazing.
know, like Spirit Fair is this like 2D, 2D or almost पुराना जो art style है वैसा art style है इसका.
Yeah.
You play as your character is kind of replacing whoever would be guarding like
Sharon.
the gates of purgatory or something.
No, this
So
is
you
I know the story. It's
Okay.
you're guarding the gates. You take over the job of Sharon. So people who follow Greek mythology will know Sharon is the guy who takes you over, like basically ferries you
Styx.
over the river of Styx.
Sticks or Styx. I don't know how you.
Styx. Takes
Like
you
into
over
the afterlife.
into the afterlife. So basically, whenever you died into the Greek mythology or like Greek lore, coins would be placed in on your eyes, right? Those were the coins
Yeah.
you would pay to Sharon, and those are technically also the coins you pay to the girl in the game, right? Which is us, the
Yeah.
protagonist. And I have read some theories about this game saying that you are actually like an old age home carer and you die and then but I don't know how much of that is true. But it's clear that if anyone plays the game, everyone around you is dead. And you're only ferrying the spirits who want to go to the afterlife of afterlife, but like vanish into the void or whatever and
Yeah.
want rest but there's something holding them on into this world. So it's kind of tragic stories in a lot of ways. But
Yeah.
the best part about this game is how they do it in such a positive mentality and how there's like a dedicated hug button and everything. And
Yeah.
what the narrative of the game is. Like, even though the premise might seem depressive, the game is anything but. It, even when you let go of the spirits, I don't know if you'll agree, but there's this feeling of whenever you see like a good movie and it ends in a nice way, like a happy ending, that's
Yeah.
the same feeling you get when you release spirits in this game. And I think that's just wonderful, and especially for a time like this right now where everyone is kind of battling with those concepts of death, life, all that shit. So yeah. Very nice. I'll just play the trailer and then I think I'll be done with this podcast for anyone to see. This is
T for teen.
just a wonderful game that I think everyone should see. It's on PC as well.
Yeah. There is a lot of management also in between,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I think was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This game looks like a perfect game on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty
It's-
good on the Switch also. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like this is a management game about dying. That's how they say it. So you're carrying people in your boat, taking care of them, stuff like that. And just
You'll be
looks-
adding parts also to your boat, like a garden, a kitchen,
Yeah, yeah.
place for people to live in.
When I started playing this reminded me a lot of Stardew Valley, surprisingly. Even though it's
A little bit,
quite
yeah.
different.
It's nothing like it, but yeah.
Yeah. The vibe
I think
of
the
it.
management aspect of
The management aspect, the vibe of it, like how you do the farming and stuff. How you
Yeah,
have to build up relationship with people. And the art style, it's just so good. The art style, the soundtrack, both of these things, so good.
Yeah.
There's so many
Also,
screenshot moments.
This cat that hangs out with you, like she doesn't want to get into the water, right? So whenever you jump into the water, she has this small ball she's playing with. So she'll throw that ball into the water and try to balance on all fours just on the tip of that ball. It's kind
Yeah.
of funny to look at, but yeah, it's nice little touches. Good
Yeah,
game.
yeah. There's a lot of, like you described, there's a lot of small elements that they did not need to do it, but because
Yeah.
they did, it's just so cool to watch. It's one game I'm recommending a lot of people right now. It's definitely something that you guys should check out. It's wonderful. Like just the entire tone of it, the art style, the music, the gameplay, the platforming. It's a very different game than whatever you are playing, for sure. I haven't come across a game like this in terms of gameplay anytime recently. Like you don't get a platformer with management
Yeah.
usually. So yeah.
Also, you usually don't get like management games with a good story. Like the hook is then the repetitive aspect
Yes.
of the management and the incremental
I agree.
upgrade.
Yeah, that's not something I'm noticed, but yeah, I completely agree with that. Oh, the music is so good. I absolutely love it. The music author's name is like Max11, I think, on YouTube. He uploads all his music as well, so for anyone to watch. I think that's about it for the podcast. Thanks for joining, Manas. Any last
Yes,
words?
happy to be here, man.
Any last words?
Check out my channel.
Yes. Oh yeah,
Watch my
yeah,
videos.
yeah.
Hope you like it.
So if for whoever is watching, I will also like add it in the description, his YouTube channel, his Facebook page, and whatever he likes to mention over there. Thanks for joining us. I would definitely want you again. I will definitely call you after Cyberpunk comes out, because
For sure.
yeah, after Cyberpunk comes out, we need like a proper gameplay for people like who are just invested in the game and lore. Yeah, and I, one of the interesting things I'm about seeing about Cyberpunk is I'll see all the PUBG Mobile streamers stream Cyberpunk, right? And they will not know like much to do at RPG. So I'll see how initially. I am damn sure a lot of people will restart that game, like initially, because there's hard locks on your skill trees and stuff, right? So people will get stuck. People will get stuck in the starting levels. I completely expect that. So yeah, very hyped. Yeah, thanks for joining. Thank you Udit as well for coming out. I'll link all of their socials in the description and all that. Thanks for watching. We'll come back next Tuesday. This will come out on Tuesday, probably. Yeah. Bye bye. See ya.
Bye bye.